What do they eat?
They have like their own rat kibble, and they eat fruits and veggies just like us.
Okay.
There's only a couple of foods that they can't eat.
Okay.
But I usually feed them like grapes and corn. They love watermelon.
Okay.
There's actually a study, if you've read that Wikipedia page, there's a guy who did a study on the favorite foods of rats. Number 1 was scrambled eggs.
I didn't get down that far.
I think it was on the Wikipedia page for the Norway rat.
Okay.
Yeah, which they are, but they're a variant of. But they dislike celery. And I've found that to be true.
She needs to label human food and rat food a little bit better.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't look. I just grab and eat.
I make some pretty appetizing looking rat food. With some nice berries and some scrambled eggs with some stuff. It looks.
You like turkey bacon? I eat turkey
He hasn't
bacon.
tried turkey bacon
I
yet.
like
He's had some like powdered turkey broth stuff that
Okay.
I used for the dogs. I gave them some. They liked it.
This is so different, neighbor. I'm glad that we're doing this here at WGMI. I know it's a stretch. I know it's a stretch, neighbor. But I told some people yesterday that I was going to do this, and they looked at me and they said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, this is going to be different. I want this to be so different so that you'll remember. You never get a second chance at making a first impression."
Oh yeah.
Now, if I'm crazy, well, so be it. I'm crazy. But then again, hey, I'm proud that I could have Abby Chestnut and her dad Tim, and Xavier and Vincent, and that is Vincent trying to get out of his.
He's sniffing around. They
He's
have
sniffing
really good noses. They can't see very well. That's what I was going to tell you.
Like bats. Bats can't see well either.
Yeah. They can maybe. I think it was like 2,600 is their prescription if they had glasses.
Oh, wow.
So they can see very close up, but everything else is blurry. And color-wise, it's like dogs, so they're red-green colorblind. So they can see yellow and blue and even ultraviolet very well.
Okay.
But red and green are kind of grayish.
I'm thinking of a film called Wolfen years ago, back in the late 70s, very late 70s, maybe 1980s, something like that. And I remember there was this spectrum, what this animal was seeing.
Yeah.
Compared to what we see as humans, so that's interesting.
Yeah, their vision's really neat, and they will go into more dark places, light and dark. That they can see that very well. So you see rats will scurry into the darkness. They know that's safe. Than out in the light.
What about sound? The auditory.
Yeah, it's really good too. That one, yeah, that's okay.
Do they react to like no? I mean, or the sound.
That's the thing. That's
the
thing. When I'm potty training them, and they don't have the facial like expressions like dogs do. I do stuff with my dogs as well, and like, do you understand what I'm saying to you? And once they do it, like I've taught my rats to go in circles and stuff. Once they do it, you're like, oh, they actually know what I'm saying.
You give them a treat?
Yo, yeah.
Okay.
They love yogurt drops. They're called yogis. And yeah, corn is still really good for them.
Hard corn.
Anything, yeah. No, just like cooked or
okay.
or in the
People
can.
food.
People food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like little baby puffs, like little like.
I don't eat cereal because I can't digest milk.
Oh, it's like a little hand. It's like little.
Like granola?
No, I guess it's like a puffed rice little treat.
Okay.
They can hold it in their little hands and such.
And they stand there and right, okay.
Yes.
Oh, she's got scads of wonderful little pictures like that.
Oh yeah, we
Neighbor,
take a lot of photos.
Go to Healing Whiskers on Facebook. Go to Healing Whiskers on Facebook because Tim is shooting this live. As we're here
actually now it's on my.
Well, we will share it after.
Oh,
yeah,
share it
it.
Okay.
I'll combine it into a movie. We'll share it.
Okay. But this is
Still go on there.
you know, this is really cool. I mean, I've never done anything like this before. You know, yesterday I was informed by a colleague, Dan Greenfield, who has the secular program on Saturdays between 10 and 2 in the afternoons here, 10 a.m. and 2. And he said that Chuck McCann had passed away. Chuck McCann, neighbor, I grew up in a time where we had Officer Joe Bolton, Captain Jack McCarthy, and Chuck McCann. And if you came home from school, you got to watch cartoons. And Officer Joe had the Three Stooges, Captain Jack had Popeye, and Chuck McCann, he was on Sundays, like Sonny Fox on Channel 5 in New York, Metro Media in those days, and with Wonderama. But Chuck McCann, he was 83, and I'm sure he probably had pets. I can't remember because it's too many years ago. But knowing that he had passed on yesterday, and having the Chestnuts here this morning with their pet rats, Xavier and Vincent, it's something special because it brings out the child in all of us, the wonder, the sense of wonder. It's like when you look at the sky and at night and you look at the stars. I think of heaven, and you know, it's just being able to go into that sense of wonderment, because there's a lot that's going on in our world today that I mean, we know that things are getting really, really strange. Now, I don't want you to think that I have these folks here because, you know, I mean, yes, it's different, but like I said before, sure, I could have taken it in another direction, and that would not have helped what they're trying to do, and that's not something that I would do. I am not saying that I wouldn't laugh, okay? See, I don't tell jokes, but I'll laugh at a good joke, and I don't find this to be a joke, and I take this very serious. That's why when I called you and I said, you know, well, you'll come here, and I will see for myself an experience, and then I will relay that as well as best as I can to the neighbor listening to us, so that they could understand. Because it's not we all have these walls we put up as we get older. The child that was within us that was open to all kinds of things, all kinds of suggestions. Well, now it's like, no, we don't want to do that, and we want to hide, we want to block off, and that's why, and where I'm going with this is that, okay, and I'm not asking you to go there unless you're so led, that Jesus, you know, when you decide to let Jesus into your heart, when you decide to let him into your heart, he will change your life, neighbor. Now, if you are so bitten and so angry with life, and you're saying, well, Siegel just has these people there with a couple of rats. Well, that's on you, neighbor. That's not on me, because I was open-minded enough to allow this to happen. I didn't know what I mean. This was, I saw how serious this was, what Ms. Abby's trying to do, and I decided, hey, I want to share this with you, and it's something totally different, and that is what is needed. It gives you a different outlook on things. Sure, we all know that the other parts of the species will get into a barn silo and do damage. We know that. Yeah. But this is something else. And if it could be of some help to somebody like yourself, neighbor, that perhaps, you know, if you have access to a computer, and if you don't, go to the public library, because the public library has many computers today. There was a time there were no such thing as computers in a library. You read paper, you read books with covers and things like that. Look at, yes, Xavier is moving about. He's on the prowl.
They take little naps and they're like babies.
You know,
they move around and they take naps.
That is
move around some more.
That is so interesting, so cool. I can't, neighbor, you're listening to What's Up in West Georgia here on the all-new WGMI AM 1440 The Train, as well as online at www.1440thetrain.com. And local therapy rat blogger Abby Chestnut, finalist for International Pet Industry Award. I hope you get. I hope so. I mean,
we were nominated last year. It was the same award. They just changed the name a little.
Yeah.
It's always. I'm the only rat blogger this year. There was another one last year, but it's always the rats against the horse bloggers.
I mean, come on. These are much more cuddly than a horse.
But it's.
I mean, can you see a horse in a basket?
I'm not dissing.
Exactly right.
I'm not dissing any of my the fellow nominees, but they're really great bloggers as well. It's just it's another different thing.
It's different.
We're comparing horses to rats.
No, you can't. This is now. What happens if somebody brings a Jack Russell into a room?
Oh.
What happens then?
Well, the rats themselves, to be therapy animals, they actually go through a test, just like dogs.
Okay.
So that to be, we're actually tested together as a team. So, I actually got tested myself. How I, here's the rat. But part of that test that we take is having a dog pass by us, and that's the main animal that becomes a therapy animal, and the dogs become the coworkers, and so they have to be good with dogs, and if the dog can't handle themselves, then that we just move out of the way. We have had a dog, Quincy. She loved Oliver so much, just I gotta have my nose right with Oliver all the time. So to combat that, we just didn't sit next to each other.
Okay.
So it's just you just have to be active about it. But generally, also with therapy dogs, they can't have had bitten any person or other domesticated animal, and that's same with rats. So they have to be pretty chill, no biting. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Okay, well.
But at a conference like at Blog Paws, which we'll be going to next week, I don't have control over that. Mm-hmm. So I have them. My dogs are actually scared of the rats because I had a rat. One of my first rats kind of nibbled on them, and now they think rats have teeth and they're bad and they're terriers, which is hilarious. So they stay away. But I'll be having a dog stroller for one of my dogs. I don't have the basket on top of it, so no dogs can just go and put their heads in. So you gotta think about what's best for your animal.